So when it comes to what recently happened in Venezuela, a lot of people are saying the exact same things, right? Whether that's Congress didn't approve this is unconstitutional, where is the declaration of war? And I need people to understand something very clearly. There is no good argument here, at least if you're going to apply these questions or your logic consistently. Under the US Constitution, Congress has the power to declare, yes, that is true, but the president is also the commander-in-chief, and for over 70 years, presidents of both parties have carried out limited military actions without prior congressional approval.
Yes, before we proceed with this video, there is something going on. Communist Mayor Zohran Mamdani says he called President Trump to file a complaint about his arrest of Maduro. President Trump totally disregarded Mamdani's opinion, and Maduro has just landed in New York. I registered my opposition. I made it clear. We left it at that, Zohran said. What a loser. At some point, I had to laugh all through. This man thinks his opinion can change Trump's mind. What exactly?
And I need people to understand something very clearly. There is no good argument here, at least if you're going to apply these questions or your logic consistently. Under the US Constitution, Congress has the power to declare, yes, that is true, but the president is also the commander-in-chief, and for over 70 years, presidents of both parties have carried out limited military actions without prior congressional approval. That is not controversial, that is not up for debate, that is not an opinion, that is a fact, and there's precedent. And under the powers resolution, Congress explicitly assumed presidents would act first. This was passed in, I believe, 1973. That law requires the president to notify Congress within 48 hours, not to ask for permission. Congress's check is legislation or funding. Now, if Congress wants to stop a military operation in Venezuela, it knows exactly how to do that. One, you pass a law directing withdrawal, or two, you cut off funding for the operation. Those are the two options. If Congress doesn't do that and continues funding the military, the action is treated as legally authorized under the US Constitution and under constitutional historical practice. That is the law. And what's shocking, not really, is the hypocrisy, because if you were to look at Obama under his administration, Libya, they carried out drone strikes against multiple sovereign countries, and they launched a full air campaign without a declaration. The Obama administration even argued that Libya didn't count as hostilities, Congress didn't defund those military actions, and the courts stayed out of it. There was no issue. Under Biden, the United States struck targets in Syria and Iraq and Yemen, in Afghanistan. Again, there were no declarations prior congressional vote. There was no public presentation of intelligence. Everyone's always saying, oh, well, where's the intelligence? Where's the proof? Especially when it comes to Trump and his administration blowing up. Yeah, there's no precedent there. And in my opinion, the best thing that the Trump administration could have done is what has historically been done for the most part, and that is to conduct operations and leave it out of the public square. Not everyone in America needs to know exactly and everything of what our military is doing. But in all of these cases, under Barack Obama and Joe Biden, Congress was notified and the funding continued. That is the end of the legal discussion. So when people suddenly demand congressional approval, right, only when it comes to Venezuela, for some reason, what they're really saying is they don't have a legal argument. They have a political argument, a moral argument. It's what ought to be the case, not what actually is the case. The US has long treated this as a national security.
There is something wrong with Democrats. I don't understand why they do this every single time. When Trump carry out something they have been struggling to do for a very long time, they will consider it bad. Just imagine that maybe Biden did this, or Obama. Democrats will be excited. They'll be happy that these actions were like what we saw with Obama. Nobody was there whining on social media. At some point, I just understand that this is just politics. They don't want to give Trump credit in anything. But to me, it's wrong. I understand in politics, you have to disagree in everything. But there are certain things that you see. You need to just proceed and appreciate what the person has done. This is exactly what I should be seeing on social media. Look at how Democrats are writing. They start by criticizing Maduro. Oh, he was this, he was that, he was that. Then before they end the paragraph, they will now start blaming Trump, calling Trump out, things like that. At some point, I see this as a certain level of hypocrisy.
As well as other members of my team, I called the president and spoke with him directly to register my opposition. to this act and to make clear that it was an opposition based on being opposed to a pursuit of regime change, to the violation of federal international law.
Shut up. Shut up. I called the president because I'm important now, and I let him know what I'm thinking about what he's doing. Shut up. We do not care. The president doesn't care. Surprise, the socialist mayor in New York City doesn't want the socialist authoritarian dictator in Venezuela to be removed. Does that surprise anybody? I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Why doesn't Mamdani ask the Venezuelan people how the warmth of collectivism has worked for them in Venezuela? Mamdani talking about, I called the president and I let him know what I thought. Shut up. Oh my God. But he wasn't done. Let's let him finish.
And what was his response to you in that conversation?
I registered my opposition, I made it clear, and we left it at that.
Yeah, in other words, it sounds like Trump was like, you're wasting my time. Move along. Also, Mamdani tweeted this morning that he was briefed about what's going on. He didn't see it, he was briefed, guys. Still, with all of this, everywhere I turn, when I see Venezuelans, they are excited. They are happy. That doesn't matter. What matters is making sure that Trump doesn't look good for doing this. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Just to remind
See what I was talking about? This Democrat will always act this way. This is Mamdani struggling to always draw this kind of attention, like he's now having authorities. Oh, I tried to call Trump this. You know, this is someone a lot of people are attributing him with communists. That is what I see. Even Maher had to call that out weeks ago. At some point, when I look at what this guy is doing, I understand they are struggling that Trump should not take credit on this. They should discredit everything he has done. Some say he just wants to divert people's attention from real issues. This has been a real issue. This guy was indicted during the Biden administration, not Trump. They could not go further to do this. Now Trump completed the mission. I expected top Democrats to come out and say, oh, this is amazing. This is a good job. That is what I expected. Now, Mamdani during the inauguration had this to
Dorothy's son.
Let's see that one more time. Now, if you weren't born yesterday, I'm sure you remember a little while ago when everybody on the left was calling Elon Musk a Nazi for doing something similar to this. Yes, they were literally calling him a Nazi. Let's go back and take a look at what Elon did.
Thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you.
So what many on the left did is they took that clip out of context when Elon did that and literally said, my heart goes out to you. It was very clear what he was doing.
Should this be the direction the party is going to? He's not the only Democratic socialist. There's about 100 in different offices and places where they've won in this country. I mean, here's a Mamdani quote from his speech. He said, "We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve."
I believe you've seen this is just the beginning. Bima put out this segment going against this guy, and this is exactly what people are going to witness. I saw the other day, they are now coming with a bill to tax billionaires. I don't know if businesses will be able to survive. A lot of people are going to leave New York. That is the simple truth. I don't want to make the video long. I think I'm going to end here. Thank you guys for always being there, sharing out my videos. God bless you abundantly. As of the short clips you see at the end, that is for the white algorithm. You can skip.
There you go.
$1,500.
Let's see if they get it.
Well,
I want to see them get it.
MAGA's going to break up because of Donald Trump's criticism of Robin.
Can sit at either place. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
You and your husband were friends with Rob and Michelle Reiner, and
Everybody knew that wasn't true.
A dangerous relative as a likely suspect. A tip that led to her brother, Nick. Rob Reiner and Nick had a heated argument the night before at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, being back on his own. In one interview,
she said,
Should have said nothing.
the United States to take this family tragedy in which the president had made no comment.
when people
people ought to have.
Absolute horror.
That 46% represents.
But that, but Israel, but Qatar, but this, but nothing. We have a great president.